Yeah, guys. Uh,
Hey, God.
Hey,
hey.
Hello.
So yeah,
so we were just writing down about resources for statistics for beginners.
okay.
So wondering if you
Uh,
have something.
yeah. For statistics for beginner, I think EDX Harvard Stats 110. I found it quite well. Like it's quite good.
edX is horrible. So
No,
the university had a tie-up with edX over here, and they have that thing with account deletion, right? And they told me, why don't you get the university to give you a new ID? And I was like, are you insane? The university will give me a new ID so that I can access your course. Are you nuts?
yeah, that's a bit of a bummer there.
Hmm.
Yeah, there are videos for the same in like videos for the same for the Harvard one, like in YouTube. So they could look out for that too, like if that's all right. Uh, like just a suggestion and like nothing else. And yeah, guys, I think I may have the problem problem for that problem for the video feed setup. Like I have set up a live stream, so like yeah, I wanted to ask, sorry for that, like are you, like I have asked Harvey personally, like Shivani and Rohit, are you okay with me streaming this meeting so that the students can directly like know about the things, if it's all right with you guys?
I'm wondering how helpful that could be in terms of live streaming this
Like they,
because
like we could be publicly reading out their questions and then discussing and giving an answer on that, like
sure,
like the answer on we still be answering on ed, but apart from that, like just a suggestion.
yeah, we could do that. I'm just wondering how many people would be around checking the
Like just a suggestion,
description.
like we could just
Yeah, we could do that.
we could like Rohit, are you up with the idea, or like is Rohit online? Yeah, I think. Hello Rohit.
Um.
Hello.
I hear like knocking from
Yeah,
his
yeah,
mic.
yeah, that was Rohit. Hello Rohit.
Hmm.
Hello Rohit, you're not audible.
I think he'll come around.
Yeah, yeah, okay, fine.
Yeah. Well, we can keep going.
Yeah, so yes, so for
Oh.
Any
Okay.
other resources for economics that you guys can think of? Or maybe we could even look something up. Yeah.
Visualization. I mean, besides the usual way we visualize things, like with matplotlib and ggplot in R, perhaps we could put those as like visualization in general in case anyone else asks for them.
Yeah.
we can't seem to get the audio.
Mm. Maybe his mic doesn't work anymore.
Hello, hello, hello.
Yeah, yeah.
Hello.
Oh, yeah, we hear you.
We hear you. We hear you.
Oh,
Go ahead.
okay, fantastic. Okay. Right, yeah, because it's 4 a.m., my neighbors were banging on the walls. So, yeah, I had to switch to my headphones, but otherwise we're cool.
Oh, okay. Hope everything's all right now.
Oh, yeah, I just act dead. What are they gonna do?
Yeah, yeah. Okay, okay. Fine. So yeah, Rohit, what I was like last what I was telling was that like I'm streaming this like this our session now so that like if the students want they can directly join in through the stream too and see what like hear what we are discussing exactly. So I just wanted to confirm like are you up with that?
Oh, okay. Yeah, I have no problem. What about you guys?
Like I asked with Shivani and Harvey like they were all right with the idea. So I just
Okay,
wanted to
good.
confirm with you. Yeah, so like okay. I'll just I'll just put the link to in the in the document that we just made. So Rohit, if you
Yeah,
could,
somebody has been asking for the Zoom link.
yeah, yeah. So like Zoom might not be possible with the
Yeah,
number
yeah.
of
You just
people.
send this one that we're on for now.
Yeah, I'll just paste it. Yeah, I think we're yeah. I just pasted it on the top. So like we could give that as a link to them.
Okay, yeah, let's do that. Um,
Yeah. So yeah, so we were discussing upon that. Hmm.
okay, I'm just gonna edit the main post and add this then.
Yeah, yeah, that would be best. Like hosting a session like this is a bit of a challenge, but yeah, a Zoom with more than 100 people might not be possible. So yeah, Joseph, yeah, look, so yeah,
I suppose we now have to be very kind. Not that we want, but yeah, let's just keep that in mind.
yeah, like we'll have to be a bit more thoughtful about what we'll be saying.
Okay, so I'm not sure. I wasn't part of this discussion. Are we suggesting Matplotlib and TensorBoard and ggplot2? Do you mean Plot9?
That's like an R thing.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was wondering. So I mean, I don't think we have that problem, but in Python, like it'll be. I mean, I don't think they're used to that interface, so maybe.
Oh, I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah, it's basically a ggplot2 for Python.
Okay.
Yeah.
These are some really interesting questions people have asked for. I think it would be a good idea for us to circle back to this question. I'm not sure if we know too much about economics, but I see really interesting questions about um, applications of AI in specific fields like climate change and environment and all of that. And also, people are also asking for regular ML resources, and I think that is some place that we can contribute the most. I feel because we've been at that end of being beginners with ML
Yeah,
Okay.
okay.
resources.
Eh,
Let's just put down. I'm going to talk in terms of Python since that's what they've looked at for now, and I've worked with Python for MLAI. So feel free to.
yeah,
I think we could kind of break this down into stats and then.
yeah. So uh, like the best way I would like we can go with uh, with like as Rohit said that like as was advised to go from top. So we'll go one by one. I think. like we'll put all pitch in answers on the same post. So the first was statistical analysis and visualization. Yeah, that's done.
Yeah, so the next one is around resources, names of book sites for someone wanting to get into MLA.
Yeah, so like for now, I think the best would be to just tell them that we'll be sending a doc with the general resources as such, and for the specific top, and for the specs kind of thing, like I have experience with Google Colab, AWS, and like personal computing with them, so I can talk on that and like write on that. And yeah, for streaming MLAI applications, uh, live over an internet connection, yeah, it's pretty much possible. Like, are you guys, any of you guys familiar with Julia Lang?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, Julia Lang's PluxML website, I was looking at it. So it has experiments on it. Like one is a digit identifier model, another is a style transfer network. Then one is that the card poll model, the card poll, the like we must you must have all seen it at some point of the time. The card poll,
Yeah.
yeah. So that's there, and along with that. Yeah, that is also there. There's a fourth one I'm forgetting. I'm not remembering it right now, but yeah, these four are. So yeah, I like it is possible to deploy models. Like models are basically
Yeah,
yeah like
Maybe we don't need to talk about Julia Lang though, because we don't want them to get confused. Let's just say that it's perfectly possible. You can because you can do this with Flask apps as well, right?
yeah
yeah.
like I like just for an example I quoted that the Julia Lang,
That's
like
fantastic.
it's a live example of a model being deployed there. So just to see that there and nothing else.
Interesting models. I have an immunological model which I came across recently. I'll just dump that here too.
I think this question might. Oh, sorry. This question might actually be asking like maybe they aren't aware that the data that you pass between agents doesn't have to be very big. Like you don't have to pass your whole model, just a few. Like which moves are you going to make? I think it's
Oh
something like
yeah.
that.
Yeah, yes, that might be the
I
thing.
think that's what they're trying to ask. I mean, can you run ML models online?
Yeah, like
So I think he's basically asking about reinforcement learning over the internet, like online reinforcement learning,
yeah,
perhaps.
yeah, but it will since the models like in general, if in general also since the model once the model is trained, we are just putting out some weights and biases there. So like in that sense, we can show them tell them that it's not I'm not able to find it, but it's not too computationally heavy at all. Like it's like running any other Python program you have.
Yeah, that works.
Rohit, are you writing the answer for that? Like, or shall I pitch in mine?
Oh yeah, no, I haven't written anything for this yet. I thought, should we start writing? Okay, why don't we also just compose an answers section here, right? Right at the bottom of the page, and or no, why even bother? Yeah, go ahead. Like as soon as you find an answer or you feel like you're willing to put something out there, let's just start writing it down. We can always edit them, right? I mean,
Yeah.
Right.
So yeah, for the resources
Not
part,
sure if we can edit the comments that we put in
yeah. So
directly.
yeah, yes, I think we can. No? Like
No, we
oh yeah,
cannot.
you can. Yeah, you can. At least I can.
Oh yeah, I can. I'm sorry. I was looking at other people's comments and see if I can edit them. I'm so sorry.
so for
Perhaps
the
we should. Sorry.
yeah,
Perhaps we should provide pandas also so that they can stay in Python.
Yeah, I think
Fantastic. Yeah.
um, introduction to NumPy and pandas and all of that. So that
This documentation is fantastic. I took a look at it recently.
absolutely. NumPy pandas documentation.
So for the resources part, I think I'll just I'll answer it point-wise as the questions appeared. So for the resources part, I think I'll just say that we'll be adding everything into a document at the end of the AMA. I think that should be fine for most of the part. Like we'll just give the document link at the end, if that's all right.
Okay, yeah, but we could also just copy and paste them as well,
Yeah, true.
because we don't really want them to read the whole document, maybe, because I don't think they will.
Yeah, that's a better thing. So yeah,
Yeah. And look, we have an hour and we have basically like, I don't know, 18 questions. I don't think we'll be overwhelmed.
yeah. So I think we can like people have posted most of their questions out here, so we can just simply answer them right away. Uh, yeah, that's a better thing to do than the doc. Yeah. So that's done. Yeah, I'll. So okay, I'll answer the thing for. So for like ML and AI, uh, do we want them to directly start on like the stats everything, or do we like personally for me when I started as per people like people suggested the Andrew Ng Coursera course about machine learning and I started doing it, but I felt it was a bit too easy for like personally for me it was a bit too easy for me like since I had some base knowledge of stats, so I then directly shifted to CS 229, but like the same Andrew Ng took the course in Stanford. So yeah, like your
Oh, I think CS 229 could be helpful for beginners.
You
yeah,
think maybe we should make sure they know calculus and linear algebra first?
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. I think we should just kind of put in a disclaimer to brush up your concepts about stats and all of these topics. And then elsewhere we can add a comment about stats resources and all of that. How about we actually start answering instead of thinking? I particularly like Paulina's question around MLAI for climate change and Devolina since she's kind of directed that towards me. But they're also asking about MLAI resources, so I'm gonna look up to you guys to see what you've been filling up.
yeah,
How
Okay.
about yeah? Let's just try to keep it as simple for people and not overwhelm them with resources.
yeah. So
Agreed.
yeah, so like we could pick out specific posts to answer. So like Shivani took Paulina's and like Devolina's posts. I think I'll answer Alex post since I'm giving it a thought from the past 5 minutes. So Alex post I think I'll answer that.
Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, and even
I can.
Leslie's is about AI for social good, which is cool.
Yeah, so like we could just pick one yeah. So I'll answer Alex post.
Cool.
Okay. I can take the next in the top list, which is Melissa. The first question, where do you think the future of AI lies? We could probably talk about that, but the other ones I can address.
I think I inadvertently took up Linda, but okay. I don't want to put ISLR everywhere, but I'm not really sure what else to suggest.
Yeah, even I've been really using ISLR as a beginner, and I feel like I suggest that to everyone. So, I don't know.
Yeah, for beginners, we would.
Bishop is good.
Yeah, Bishop is actually severely underrated. I know a lot of people think Bishop is old-fashioned because it doesn't go into networks, but it's
No, I
fantastic.
think Bishop is great too.
How about the Sutton reinforcement learning book?
Yeah,
Remember that?
that's a good resource actually. Like for like when I started with reinforcement learning, I started with David Silver. Like for reinforcement learning specific purposes, I did not find the David Silver lectures enlightening me too much of once you are done with the David Silver's lecture 10 videos, like you'll get to know about the terminologies and the terms in the reinforcement learning domain, but I don't think specifically you can start off from there. Yeah, so
So
that
I have a new idea. Why don't we talk about some things which, even if they seem to be asking, we maybe shouldn't get into? So, for example, like I don't think we should discuss maybe NLP or, in fact, any of the subtopics because really we're talking to people who have just finished CS 106A, right? So
yeah,
if we send them off into like anything
spe-
overcomplicated, then they're just gonna get scared again, right? I mean,
yeah,
that's
yeah,
counterproductive.
I
yeah.
kind of
Okay,
saw
good point.
John's question. I don't know if you guys noticed, but it's at the end, and he talks about RL and procedural
Yeah,
linguistics and all of that.
It's
And I'm like, dude, you're taking CS 106A, and you know all of that. You know AutoML, neuroevolutionary algorithms, GANs.
yeah, that is kind of funny that he's taking CS 106A.
Yeah,
Maybe it's a troll.
well, if he hasn't been reported yet, then at the very least he's not been harassing anyone else, which is a pro. So I don't mind
yeah.
because I know a lot of other advanced students were causing trouble for some people. So I mean,
Oh,
yeah,
causing trouble how?
well, generally like ruining the flow because they would quickly guess through the answers, well, not guess or just go through the answers, or I mean, um, if you don't allow the students to fail at this stage, then it's gonna affect them negatively. So yeah, I mean, clearly, if nobody has reported this guy, then at least he didn't bother anyone else. So okay, let's deal with this question.
Yeah.
So I'm just looking at Melissa's second question. I want to say that we should separate software from hardware. So, and
Yeah,
What is
that's a very good point. Yeah.
what were you gonna say, Shivani?
um on Sophia, the humanoid robot? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't
Does
know
anybody
too
know
much
about
about.
hardware?
No, I don't know too much about robots. So I'm
I'm
not. A,
actually going to chime in on 3 for Melissa a little bit because
oh yeah, that's
I mean
yeah.
it's very interesting because like I was actually in a lecture just yesterday where they were talking a lot about the forecasting in epidemics, and the truth is those are not AI models. Like those are correlation models, mostly autocorrelation
Yeah.
models.
Yeah, like
So
that I too feel like people just report anything with a algorithm behind it as machine like learning model.
yeah,
But at the same time, I feel like even if it's not as important at the moment, with the kind of data that is being collected in the future, that could be used for potential AI applications. So I do feel that people are getting more and more interested into this area.
Yeah, like my concern is not with people developing AI for it. My concern, like what I feel is like people like not the people who actually do the stuff, the people who promote the stuff, or like the media bodies, to be very precise, they advertise something can be novel without including machine learning or any kind of learning models to it, right? Like it could be something a simple programming language that you do for yourself. And but nowadays the media, like what I feel, like this is just my personal opinion, the media just they claim they put everything as machine learning. So yeah, like that's just a bit of my opinion.
Yeah,
And
that is what happens. So, like, if you take like one of the examples I gave in my section was just using SciPy optimize, and that's just like curve fitting. But if you do that and it gets into like the news, they will call it machine learning just for more clicks or something, or clickbait.
yeah,
I
like
can't tell you guys how many times I reject a paper because it says, "Oh, we did machine learning," and I go through it and they're like, "We did linear regression on chemical products," and I'm like, "Yeah, reject. Bye bye."
yeah, like people do tend to over like the- but yeah, like I think we are going a bit. I'll start a rant on it if I go a bit more on it, so I would just stop.
Yeah, okay. But I think still really like real AI has still become more popular, because I know in my group we're actually addressing COVID-19.
Yeah,
So it's
absolutely. I agree.
Yeah, yeah, so I'm more or less. I'm more like I'm done with the Alex post. I'm just posting now. Like on a personal level, uh, do you guys recommend Andrew Ng's Coursera ML course for absolute beginners? Like as
No, I don't.
yeah,
no.
yeah. So like on a personal level, what would you suggest better than that?
I think I know this can be difficult, but carving your own path in terms of realizing what you know and what you don't. If you're good at stats, okay, so you don't really need to go there. Then if you're good in Python, general Python stuff, then you don't really need to brush up on that. But you might want to um, learn how to program in NumPy and Pandas and all of that. And then I would say look up algorithms, which people have been trying to teach. And I think the best way to do that would be blogs. I don't know if you guys agree, but I find blogs very helpful.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like that's
I do, but I don't like Medium. I mean, I don't want to be
No,
like
not
the
Medium.
odd one
No.
out. Like, I hate
No.
Medium and I hate the way it buys search results so that whatever you search on Google, the first 10 results are Medium, and I'm like, die. All of you just die. But yeah.
I think we could kind of add the blogs that we follow,
Yeah,
and people could take it from there. Even I feel that Medium posts for MLAI are really not that helpful.
Yeah,
I
and
know,
some of
right?
them are just wrong.
Yeah, they are, right? I mean, if I see one more, some posts cobbled together with weird images without attribution and snippets of the documentation, I mean, it's just awful. On the other hand, it has reintroduced me to RSS. So, like, because that's the only sane way to follow a lot of blogs. Do you guys
yeah,
use RSS?
yeah, yeah,
No, I haven't. What is
Mm.
RSS?
So, like, obviously some blogs have a newsletter, but then most blogs, if they're auto-generated, will have an RSS feed, which will simply, and it's kind of like having your own private collection where you're just updated whenever those blogs that you follow with their RSS feeds is updated.
Hmm.
I will send you an example and a reader.
But back to what alternatives there are to Andrew. That's how you pronounce his name, though.
okay, thanks. Thanks.
Yeah, it's kind of weird, but I think I would actually recommend that they do the normal student thing, which is take calculus, take linear algebra, take statistics, and maybe if they don't want to take CS229, then look for its videos on YouTube and just do that.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's not like I don't want to be the person making things elitist, but it is difficult to give a basic understanding of a graduate level topic without having basics. I mean, it beggars belief. I mean, it doesn't work, right? I mean, you have to know your
Yeah,
basic maths, statistics, and then you
like
will
that.
understand them.
Yeah, like that's what I'm writing in my post. Like you may hate it for what it is, but at the end, you won't understand. You won't like you needed to understand much of the topics included. Yeah, like even if you want to have a like it might sound rude, but if you want to have a intelligent conversation about these topics with anyone, like a basic and intuition along with understanding of the math behind it is sometimes very necessary.
Okay, but
Yeah,
let's just remember to use positive language. I mean, you know, all
Yeah, yeah,
positives and no
yeah,
negative
yeah.
languages. Like,
right.
yeah, right. This is something which I actually had drilled into me because when I was like self-taught through like submitting patches to the Android kernel, so it was horrifying. And yeah, but nowadays we have to be very nice. And it's good. It's great. I love it. Mm,
I think Clara was asking about, well, she was asking me specifically about that kind of thing. Like, should she do a master's program just to learn enough to work in industry? I think that's overkill, but she should still just take those classes, even if she thinks all she has to do is use them. To use them effectively, you pretty much have to understand how they work. So
yeah, I mean, I don't think you need a whole extra year in school just to get a master's program. If you're already doing your undergrad, I mean, obviously, if you're out of college, then maybe you need to go back to college somehow. And in that case, a
Oh,
degree is
yeah.
good. But yeah.
Yeah, she is an undergrad, so maybe it would be convenient for her.
Do we still have Shivani? I haven't heard from her in a
Oh,
bit.
yes, I'm here. I'm just composing my thoughts and writing an answer.
Ah, no, fantastic. Yeah. I'm concerned about answering Leslie's question on social good because it's so subjective.
I can do that.
Go for it. Thank you.
Like honestly, I'm a bit intimidated by John's post.
Yeah, me too, man.
It's
I thought,
actually not that bad. I feel like he's overthinking this right now because like your choice of Unity or Unreal and all, those are basically graphics choices, right? I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
it doesn't
Rendering choices.
really. Yeah, so I mean, I think he's kind of overthinking things at this stage. Um, like he should really just focus on his core algorithms and deal with rendering later, and it shouldn't even matter.
Yeah, it doesn't because isn't TensorFlow in C++ anyway?
Oh yeah, but the documentation is a nightmare.
Yeah, I had
But
to
like
make my own
this
notebook.
looks like a huge project anyway, so by the time he's ready to use it, we might be on TensorFlow 3 and nobody knows how to use it anymore. So it's like just work on your project and deal with it when the problem comes up.
Yeah, I can take a stab at that a little bit actually.
Yeah, that's a bit of a task in this AMA to give them resources, but to not intimidate them by the said resources. Yeah, could you guys pitch in for this question of like the same Alex question, like computer specs needed for the research of ML and AI?
I think you can just use any modern system because it's like when you're learning, you don't need a GPU, you just need to understand, like you just need NumPy, right?
Yeah, and like yeah, like the only good suggestion I could give to anyone who is starting with these things is to just get a system with NVIDIA with an NVIDIA GPU. Like that's the that's the most generic advice I got from my mentors too.
I
Like
think at this point,
For
it makes
beginners.
more sense to um, use cloud-based solutions. What do you think?
Yeah, all the time. Like, except, although weirdly there are cases. So I'm managing. I mean, oh wait, this is being live streamed. Sorry, I can't say that. But yeah, okay. I mean, unless you have strong reasons to buy your own hardware, you should always go for the cloud.
Yeah, absolutely.
I agree with that.
Especially if you're a beginner and you don't really know if you're gonna stick around long enough to make like good use of the hardware that you have.
Yeah, and keep in mind, like an NVIDIA GPU could be pretty expensive to a lot of these
Absolutely.
people.
Yeah,
yeah,
true.
like a stand like yeah, that's
Yeah, so like if you have like $200, let's say, for a
Ah,
pretty good one,
interesting, Rohit.
you could you could just
Yeah,
spend that on Coursera or something, or just spend it on something else until you get more into machine learning.
Yeah, Rohit, I'll have to open your chats in my phone because I cannot open it in my PC too. So yeah, I'll read it there because I saw the
Oh yeah, don't worry. Don't comment on it anyway.
yeah, like I
Yeah,
just saw the
including.
words hush hush and like I'm okay. I'll not see that right here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you actually, you can ask your school if you go to school for free compute.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, like most of the institutes do provide with some form of compute and all. Like for my case, I was provided with like not promoting anything. I was provided with AWS credits, like CPU credits, not GPU. But still, it helped me a lot.
Yeah. And we should also make sure they know that they don't have to work on the machine that is sitting right next to them,
Yeah,
because they might not know that. What does Noah Harari say about 21 lessons for the 21st century?
He actually talks a lot about IT and biotech and how their intersection. I mean, it's a very like a utopian, dystopian kind of a theme, but kind of both at the same time. But he talks about how if IT and biotech kind of really come together, then what kind of applications could there be, and how they could impact how we really think and our mindsets on a much deeper level, and our choices could, like how our choices could get affected. I read that book like a year ago, so I don't really remember everything, but I found it really interesting and kind of intriguing.
Okay.
Wait, is someone answering Alex?
yeah, I'm doing that. I'm towards my last.
Well, I put down something for John. I hope that's. I mean, we can get back to it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think
Yeah, we
we
can
should do that.
circle back to it afterwards.
Oh, Harvey, if you refresh the page, Linda has a question for you.
Hmm. Okay. Yeah, I'll answer it. Hmm.
Himanshu has been asking about ML for controlling COVID and how it can reduce mortality rate. And I feel like a lot of people think along those lines, but I do want to say that we should not try to consider technology as the cure all for all of our problems. COVID is a public health issue, and we should not really try to um, divert our focus in terms of what could help. But at the same time, I don't want to be too like
Yeah, I
negative. I do think that there could be scope of um, ML helping. Yeah, Rohit, go ahead.
Oh yeah, no, I just completely agree. I do feel that especially when it comes to COVID, people seem to forget that one of the reasons why the situation is where it is because public health policy and policies in
Absolutely.
general, are a mess because partially because there's a funding bias for STEM fields. I mean, it's there. People think
Absolutely.
STEM is the answer to everything, but it's not.
Yeah,
Sometimes you
it's
need to
not.
put funding in public policy or in, like you can't argue that your system is broken when you're not going to spend any money to fix it, right? And
And then you try to give temporary hacks using technology and try to make people think that, oh, we're doing something, don't you worry. But that's kind of just like diverting the focus from things that could actually help. Although I'm not saying that ML could not help in any capacity at all. So I'm wondering if you guys have thought about any applications.
well, I mean, the prototypical application for that would be contact tracing, right? So you can do privacy-oriented AI to do better contact tracing to get better statistics. So you can emphasize maybe that you can collect better data or you can get more meaningful data, but the interpretation is still going to be your government's. Nobody is going to solve COVID with an ML, whatever, right?
Yeah.
So, like, you can talk about how, and there are certain things which maybe might be easier, like logistics, certainly, when you consider the fact that there are all these panic buys and all of that. If you had a better logistics system in place where you had adaptive supply and demand, right? Then
Hmm.
that might help. But those are all tools. They are tools which are to be deployed at the discretion of policymakers and other people, So,
Hmm.
yeah.
Absolutely. I think those are some really great points. What about Arnesh and Harvey?
Yeah, like I do agree with you guys on this point. Uh, what I like you guys were right on this front. Like these are just tools that could be used, but yeah, these are not the end. Like these are not the end case. End case. What should I use? I'm very bad with words there.
It's
Uh,
not like an end-to-end solution.
yeah, exactly. Thanks. It's not an end-to-end solution for it. Like, yeah, you could like first of all, granted you have the resources. After you have the like as Rohit pointed out, it's a good, it's the best use case for these would be towards data collection, like efficient data collection, like that. That's most of my opinion.
Hmm. Makes sense.
But yeah, people are working on it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think there's nothing wrong with that, but having this perception that, oh, this could do it. That's that's the wrong thing. I'm gonna put down the tools that Rohit has listed out, and feel free, you guys, to add your
Yeah, yeah,
thoughts to the answer.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, so Alex is done, Melissa's done, Laura. Okay, it's towards Harvey. Let me just refresh it out. Linda, Sean, Ollie.
I had this really, and this could be a naive question, but do you think contact tracing, like the couple algorithms that I've seen for contact tracing that are being used, are they using AI in particular? Because I seem to think that I didn't come across some of that. But what do you guys think? Are they using AI for now?
Like,
I haven't looked into it.
I haven't looked into it much, so I won't be able to give you inputs there.
I have a feeling that they're not using AI for this contact tracing because they're not making predictions, right? I mean, what I'm trying to say is that they are using privacy and all of those algorithms, uh, like
Yeah,
or
a
crypto.
little I've
You
seen
know?
just seems like a graph search kind of thing.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that would also be interesting to point out that people, again, I think we were discussing this, people tend to think that AI is being used, but it probably isn't. I'm not sure.
Well, to be fair, because I've seen some of the plots, they don't look as noisy as they should be if they were just literally plotting GPS coordinates. So I think they're doing at least a linear smoothing. But yeah, I mean, I wouldn't call it AI.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
then
like
maybe,
like that's filtering for us.
Yeah,
Calvin.
I think I'm gonna put down technology and not say this is AI.
yeah,
That makes more sense, right?
Yeah,
yep, fantastic.
Where else do you think like tech tools are helping? I'm just gonna put down a list.
yeah, like
So I have contact tracing, logistics system for supply and demand. What
yeah,
else?
yeah. Supply and demand was my point, and
Who needs testing? I think that could be something that people could tackle with.
Ooh, well, yeah, but that's again
But
decision theory, right? I mean, the Bayesian methods rely strongly on your prior, and
yeah,
that means you have to have, again, it's more of a how much do I believe my test is working sort of situation.
makes sense.
yeah,
I'm gonna put down two for now,
yeah.
and we can add more.
Look,
Oh, Harvey, would you like to answer Jyoti? Because she was asking especially about DNA sequences. So,
Okay, yeah.
yeah. I already replied to Ramya, who was just asking more generally about biological data. So I talked about the AlphaFold stuff there. But yeah. Just out of curiosity, are there people watching the live stream? I'm just wondering.
No, I think they would have joined the meet, right? Which is 4 people.
there are 5 views, not much, but yeah,
Oh, people are
Oh,
watching this?
yeah.
Yeah,
One of them is John.
one of them is now me. I mean, just saying.
yeah, I kind of want to see what it looks like.
Yeah, so like one of them is John from the posts we were discussing on. Just a heads up.
I like the little bottom graphic you've put up, Arnesh. It's quite nice.
Oh, yeah, but like I too thought it's difficult, but at the end it's quite easy for to set up. Like I started learning it at 5 a.m. today, I think, and I was down to the details at 7. I think. Yeah, like pretty good.
I actually don't understand Jyoti's question.
Uh, okay.
physical maps for DNA sequences.
Is she talking about PCA?
Perhaps.
Yeah, I kind of feel like maybe she's seen dimensional reduction and how people tend to talk about it in terms of mapping, maybe.
You mean PCA as in principal component analysis?
Yeah, reduction, basically dimensional reduction.
Okay, because there's a PCA that's like polymerase chain reaction that you do with DNA.
Oh god, no.
Oh, I think I can answer this. She spoke to me about this, and she's been wondering how. So, some background. She's going for a master's, and she's gonna work around DNA sequencing and all of that. So she's wondering what kind of research problems exist, but also for her final project in this course. And I think she wants to do something new here. So she's wondering how do you even come up with a new approach from a pre-existing one. But I think, yeah, it's tricky.
Well,
Okay.
for the final project, I think she shouldn't worry about being different
Novel.
from everybody
Yeah.
else.
Yeah, I think novelty should not be her focus at the moment.
Yeah, like there's an example for that. Like I too had asked this question to my professor at some point of time. Like we all feel that our research should be like a point break or a like it should be like basically at some point of time you must have felt of putting something out which is like a groundbreaking research in short. Yeah, so but that's not necessarily the case for your interest too. Like the example he gave me was about a frisbee. So you have a frisbee with you and you are given the task of upgrading it or giving it an upgrade. So how do you go about it? That was the that was the example he gave me. And the like he said that one idea would be to make a frisbee that is impossible to not catch. Like you put in motion sensors to it and you like basically you make it quite heavy, and it never misses out. And then another and a more simple approach would be to just add an LED to it so you could play at night too. So like these both are ground like these both are these it is about making your own research and putting out more research on the existing research, pre-existing research. Like I think Jyoti is thinking along those lines only. Like when like
So I think, do you mean that like, so I think one of the things which also used to happen to my colleagues and even to me is that when you finish a course and then you start thinking about new ideas and then you start doing a literature survey and you start saying, oh, someone's already done that. But that's part of the process, you know what I mean? Because
Yeah,
you
yeah.
just finished reading one book, and if you think nobody's ever done that, then you're mistaken. And then you just keep reading and you keep growing in those directions, and then eventually you reach the end of the literature, and then your ideas are truly new. But yeah, I mean, I don't know how to better phrase that really. I mean,
Well, it's like you don't know what doesn't exist until you've looked at everything that does. So if you're looking for something to do, then do something that you wish existed but doesn't yet. And then if somebody gets there first, then that's still good for you.
Yeah,
yeah, I think in these cases, like when people maybe don't understand is that the question is more important than the approach, because you can modify your approach, but if you're working towards the wrong question, then you know
yeah.
it's sort of like if your research problem is how do we cure cancer, then you're gonna have a tough time in life. And if you focus on like say, I don't know, pick a topic, microscopy and super resolution microscopy, which has immense biological applications, but the solution doesn't come from thinking about curing cancer, even if it might help there because of the whole. Wait, there's that XKCD comment. Where's that? Have you guys seen that one about the PhD? What you feel you know at the end of the PhD is a little
Yeah.
bump.
He's just dropped
Yeah.
We have got to share that. Where is that?
Yeah, the one about the PhD, right?
Yeah, the one about your knowledge, human knowledge, and whatnot. Is that an XKCD?
Like there was one I remember about thesis defense, but
No, I think that's
I don't think that was.
just randomly pull things out of search engine. Oops, we lost Harvey.
Yeah, do we have any new? Do we have any new questions?
Okay, I think I just dropped off there. Sorry.
No trouble. No. Are there any new questions? Non-STEM background. Yeah. Shivani, are you still with us?
Yeah, and
Yeah. Are there any new questions here?
I think so.
I think
I also see we're actually going over our hour. I hope no one has anywhere to be. Like for me, I'm just gonna go back to bed after this, but yeah.
I'm not sure if you guys have taken this up, but I'm gonna answer Devolina and Leslie's. They're really relevant to the kind of work that I've been doing. Do we have any other questions? I think we could also just pitch into what others have answered, if you think.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, I just like every question to have at least one answer, and then of course, the more the merrier.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I see. Like I have been looking at Leslie's question for about 2 minutes now, and I'm not able to exactly like. There's no answer to it, but I'm not able to exactly grasp what she wants to ask here. It's just above
Yeah. No, she's trying to ask if you have worked on any social good projects, and if you have, which of those have been the most impactful?
Too bad I can't talk about it.
social projects. No. This would have been the perfect question for Chris, since that's his like. If you like, after I started with Coding Test, I did a bit of literature review of the papers published by Chris. That's pretty like applying on like his approach is towards making education more accessible. So yeah, like I just feel that. Is there an option of tagging? I don't think there's an option of tagging anyone in Code in Place, the Ed forum.
But we could still link to Chris's papers or his Google Scholar profile.
That might be a bit intimidating for people.
Oh,
I
okay.
personally
Yeah.
like just like they'll be seeing papers without any prior knowledge.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So yeah, I think we are pretty much like. Is there anyone apart from Leslie whose posts have not been like? Shivani, are you writing the answer for
They
them?
will not.
Yeah, yeah, right.
Yeah.
Okay, okay. So I think the rest have been answered by either some of us, and we can pitch in like even after this, whatever, whenever we feel like.
Cool. Yeah, I'm gonna just quickly write answers to Leslie's after this, and then yeah, it's been great chatting with you guys.
Yeah, yeah, same here.
Yeah, you guys have been great. I mean, I did not notice the hour, and that's not just because I'm sleepy. It's also because you guys are awesome. So yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Hope we'll
thanks.
keep in touch. Yeah, thank you. See you guys. Bye.
See ya.
See ya. Bye bye.
Bye.
And now a note to my non-existent subscribers and viewers of this stream. Please do subscribe to my channel as a YouTube friend, as everybody does on YouTube social. And please do like this video if you got something out of the AMA discussion we had with Rohit, Harvey, and Shivani here. That's I'm done with the begging, everyone.